As we enter the temple, we're going to do lots of different kinds of meditations today. So I just invite you to imagine going deep into meditation. Imagine the kinds of beautiful things you could do with your mind. Just making nice moments for yourself. With each breath, intentionally being present, slowing down, becoming calmer. So we like to start by setting our intention. So my intention is to show you a lot of really nice experiences that you can create for yourself. But bigger than that, my intention is that these exercises will be really helpful for you, not just now, but that you could keep doing them, or you could make your own versions of them. And I also intend that I hope the way I discuss them and discuss our minds is insightful and empowering and helps you to think more effectively, to be more the master of your own feelings and master of your own habits, how you think about yourself and how you feel about yourself. I want you all to come away from today feeling more empowered and more enabled in how you think, how you talk to yourself, how you approach everything. So I'll just give everyone a moment to set your own intention for today. How to make the most out of this time together. Alright, so my plan for today is that we're going to just explore a bunch of different short meditations. And in between each one, I hope we can explore what it was like for you, questions about meditation, questions about living a more mindful life. But we're going to dive straight into a meditation just to notice what it's like to shift gears in our mind, to be ready to transform more, to cultivate change more powerfully. Now, as I describe getting into a state of mind where positive changes will impact you more, I'm not just doing that to explain what's going on. I'm also hoping that your imagination will start to feel that positive suggestions will transform you more. When I suggest feeling really relaxed and calm, and that making you open to envisage your best you, it's not just explaining, it's priming your mind, getting you more in that state. And I also suggest the same for your own meditations. If you're sitting to meditate alone or going to guide meditations with friends, describe the benefits of meditation to yourself. It's like programming your brain. It's getting yourself to be more empowered, optimizing the changes in your brain pathways that you're going to make. So unless anyone has any questions, we're going to dive into the meditation. Alright, so if you're brand new to meditation, there are different styles, but for this one I just want you to get as comfortable as you can. If you're sitting on a cushion, you can try to get your knees below the hips. Perhaps you're sitting off the front of the cushion, your knees are down and your spine is up. If you're sitting in a chair, You can either find some upright seated position that feels good, or you can sit back in the chair and just get as relaxed as you want. And this first meditation is just going to be exploring how you can shift how you feel. Not just relaxing your body, but we're also going to make our mind feel calmer and more present. So I invite everyone to close your eyes and just check in with your body. How are you feeling sitting in the seat? How's your spine? Check in with your arms. Perhaps you'd like to bring the hands into the lap, or perhaps you'd like to adjust how the hands are sitting or the arms are sitting somehow. And when I check in with my shoulders, I want to pull them up and pull them back and just like open up my chest. But when you check in with your shoulders, just let them feel good. Whatever it takes to just let your body be feeling nice. And then you can notice your breathing. And I invite you to slow down your breathing. And as you keep watching your breathing, you can imagine each breath feeling more soothing, more peaceful. It might take a few breaths, but if you imagine each breath feeling better, you'll find them feeling better and better. And you might have noticed that I slowed down my voice, and I'm imagining my voice feeling soothed and comfortable and confident. I hope that's how it sounds for you. And I invite you to do the same thing. Notice your inner voice. Are you thinking anything? And if so, make your inner voice feel peaceful and present and powerful. You might like to say that to yourself. Peaceful, present, powerful. And we'll take a few even deeper breaths as we go deeper into peace. And maybe you're noticing that your arms feel relaxed, or your face feels relaxed. Maybe you notice your spine feels at peace, or your hips feel comfortable wherever you're sitting. And you can scan through the muscles in your legs and try to feel them more intricately. Maybe you can see the muscle fibers. Maybe you can feel more nuanced, the nice feelings in your legs. And just let every part of your legs become total relaxation. And you feel your ankles and your feet. And then we're going to feel our whole body, your feet, your legs, your hips, your torso, your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Deep breath in and feel your lungs. Breathe out and feel your nose or your mouth. Feel your face, your eyes, your ears, the whole of your head. And then feel the whole of your body all at once, your head and torso and legs. And as you enjoy whatever nice feelings you've made across the whole of your body, we'll take 5 deep breaths and just enjoy all those nice feelings. And just as we've brought peace to our body, we've scanned through with the intention of relaxation and feeling at ease. You could imagine if your feelings and your mind also became perfectly at ease, perfectly relaxed. A state of mind where you're ready for positive changes to be felt more powerfully, imagined more vividly, internalized more deeply. Some people like to imagine that when you calm the mind, it makes space. Instead of the thoughts and habits that have been in your mind, you make space for your creativity, for your compassion, for your best self. You give it time to explore, to practice. You give your best self time to think, to wire itself into your day-to-day self, letting your best self grow. So as we're wrapping up this first meditation, everyone's just welcome to take a seat. You can appreciate the nice feelings that you made. You could imagine that you're open and receptive to being inspired by your best self, the positive ideas that we share together. Some of those may also inspire you. Perhaps you'd like to imagine if you were a blank slate, if you were born again right now, you've given yourself this total freedom to just be the best you could imagine. the way the most wonderful world needs you to be. And as you're coming out of the meditation, you can do that however you want. I see some people stretching, some people just sitting in the peace, in the bliss. Some of us smiling. Just come out of the meditation in whatever way feels good for you. So, welcome everybody. B-Boy, our plan for tonight is just to explore a bunch of different mental training, different meditations and cool things we can do with our mind that can help us in every part of our life. And we just did a shifting gears meditation. So everyone who was here for the meditation, how are you feeling? You relaxed? You feeling at peace? Or is there anything you'd like to share from it? Kame Buddha, could you describe how it was for you?
It was very nice, very tranquil. I got into my breath, and I was just noticing that. I feel like I also noticed from the last time I came to one of your sessions that I was very much more focused on what you were actually guiding me to focus on, rather than just kind of like thinking about things and then like refocusing. Of course that happened, but I feel like less. But yeah, and then relaxed and soothed my body. I like to tense up the muscles around my mouth or my eyes, like squint and move my mouth around, because it helps me relax my facial muscles, and then
so you tense them up
from there,
and then you relax them. That sounds nice.
Progressive muscle relaxation. Yeah. It is very nice. And and then I already felt kind of content. So I just kind of guided my emotions towards like loving kindness, gratitude, those things. And then yeah, set in a nice state.
I know when I first learned about meditation, and it was described to me that, our brains are just running on all these habits, all these things we've picked up, all these attitudes we have about ourselves. And if we just put them aside, we can then start to choose who we want to be. Or, different people believe that their inner self is an enlightened being, or they want to be like an emissary of heaven on earth, or however people want to believe. I'm not sure what I believe, but I do like that idea of putting aside the habits that I didn't choose, that I've just picked up from culture and influence, and getting into this space where I'm more free to practice what I do choose. I'd love to hear people's thoughts about it, or even reflecting on the meditation. Do you feel like, hey, yeah, I am more relaxed, and I do feel more able now to feel confident or happy or empowered? Or
Anybody? I can talk about my experience.
Yes, please.
But this is my first time here, and I will admit, initially it was a little challenging. I had to close my window, put the blinds, close the door, eliminate a few distractions, and then it was great. I took my headset off, I got into my breath, and I took it nice and slow. And it was, for me, I like to make the sound of the ocean very calming, very soothing. And it got me to a state where I was more mindful. And as I slowly tried to think about what was going through my head, it was kind of challenging to push the thought down and just empty things out and start from scratch and go for a state of just quiet. It was very calming, very soothing.
Very nice. Glad that it was good for you. Would anyone else like to share or ask a question or anything?
I
Comment,
mean,
Buddha.
to add to what you're saying, yeah, I meditate for pretty similar reasons. I try to uh, bring new conditioning to myself, my mind, and you know, take what is useful from our what is normal conditioning, I guess, and constructs, and recondition and throw out the things that are not useful. You know, we there's a song that part of it says we live in a culture of cruelty. I kind of feel like that's true in some ways, not in every way, of course, but with how people can be very judgmental right off the bat, very very non-compassionate to themselves and others, and you know, we name call ourselves if we do something wrong, or others, of course, if others do something wrong. And, yeah, having a little bit of non-judgmental mind state is, it's always the goal, to overcome those more cruel, I guess, attitudes.
Going to respond to that in just a second. Welcome, Masai. You've just
No
joined.
worries.
We just did a very short intro meditation, and today we're going to explore lots of different meditations. So we did a shifting gear meditation, a relaxation with some suggestions that we're in a state of mind to be awesome. A blank slate, to be born again, to be our best. So, Comrade Buddha, you were saying about the state of society, and when I first started doing compassion meditation, it definitely was inspired by the idea of a world where everyone's kind. And I think that drove me, but really I was just thinking of me cultivating kindness, me wanting to feel better about the people around me, and then over time extending that out to more and more until I got to the point of being able to meditate on and feel love for all beings. But these days when I think about it, I think much more about what you said, that we are all ambassadors for kindness. We make a stand for being kind to each other and kind to ourselves, and the stronger we can shine that loving kindness out to everybody, the world needs it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, exactly.
Hello Merck's just joined on the live stream. Since today's a discussion of different types of meditation, do you know any good ones that can use yoga or yoga balls? Definitely could talk about yoga. I'm not sure what you mean by yoga balls. Do you mean gym balls, like the big balls that we sit on? Let me know, and I'll try to include that in our session. So, Comrade Buddha, one little nuanced bit of feedback that I hope you'll take is, I try to be very careful whenever I'm saying anything like, "Oh, we do this," like you were saying, being name call it. We name call ourselves. My concern about doing something like that is that maybe there's someone who doesn't, or maybe someone who almost doesn't, and then hearing that sentence, their brain has to envisage, "Oh, we do that." So I try to either avoid ever phrasing things in a way that other people have to take it on, or if I do, it's something that I'm very confident is a good thing. Like, we have a space inside of ourselves where we can imagine being our better self. Maybe sometimes I'll phrase things in a way that encourages people to just believe it. But otherwise, I'm aware that everyone's minds are so different and our culture is so different. And not just for others, but also for ourselves. Like if you were to phrase it as like, oh, I'm aware that I used to name call myself, it's much more empowering than saying, oh, we do that. Because I truly wish for you to get to a state, or perhaps you're already there, where every one of your thoughts is constructive and kind to yourself. All right.
Definitely much closer to that, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's actually useful advice, yes.
I'm glad you appreciate it. Yeah, for anyone who's kind of new here, I do really believe in brain engineering. Like the more fine-grained we watch how we talk and how we think, the more empowered we can become. So little nuances about how we talk about ourselves or how we think about ourselves, I think make a huge difference. And so I am quite a stickler for accuracy in our discussions. So I hope it's always done in a way that's received well and is inspiring. All right. So I'm just thinking about Hello Merck's request for yoga meditations that are good with yoga. I'm going to talk about that and things related to it and see if that takes us into a meditation, or maybe we'll do a meditation later. So something I've found about like physical activity can really affect our style of meditation. Like we just did a body relaxation, which then also leads to a relaxing sensation of meditation. Years into my self-development practice, I was hearing all these people saying that, oh, yoga is this like spiritual self-transformation. And I was like, oh, come on, I've like transformed aspects of myself. I've seen things you wouldn't believe. How is these stretching exercises? How can you call that a spiritual thing? But I was just ignorant of it. And I remember going to a festival where someone was teaching yoga classes every day. And in each of the poses, we would hold the pose. It was a slow practice. And while we're in that pose, we were meditating on our body. They didn't say it as such. They just had us hold the pose and just really concentrate on the pose, use our strong breathing to be able to be stronger than we normally would, be able to relax parts of our body even though that it was pretty intense, and then explore how relaxing a little bit was able to make our body go further into the stretch. Or some of the times where we needed to just push harder, we were able to just make our breath stronger and we could hold the stretch. It's pretty cool to just see how you just immersed our concentration into this intensity for an hour. And then they got us to lie down, relax your arms, get in this pose, take a deep breath, and I was just into this amazing, blissful peace. So this like intensity of the postures, similar to how you were saying tensing up the muscles in your face, let your body relax, or you let your face relax. This style of yoga was just so intense across my whole body and mind that the relaxation at the end was just profound. So perhaps, Hello Merck, finding a style of yoga where the poses are held more slowly and that do a very strong yoga nidra or guided relaxation at the end might be a way to think about yoga and meditation. Perhaps you've already got that. I'll try and give you some more if you do. But yeah, a practice which really engages your concentration and attention in the poses and has a really intentional guided meditation at the end is where I have seen the greatest benefit of yoga and meditation. One other thing I've seen is that yoga can be like personal development poetry. So while you're holding the warrior pose, you can think of yourself as this ambassador for peace, this powerful strength. Or you can think of the kind of self-development changes you're making in yourself and that inner strength just getting stronger and stronger. So you could meditate on some particular transformation that relates to the story of the pose. or while you're in the butterfly pose, you could think of how a caterpillar dissolves its whole being and then rebuilds itself as a butterfly. So perhaps we could do a yoga session sometime, and I could show you the meditations that I have at many different poses through the routine. And then
That'd be lovely.
yeah, perhaps we could get some full body tracking and do a VR yoga session sometime. Or we could do it over a video call. And then my last thought about meditation related to yoga is similar to how Comrade Buddha said, activating the muscles in the face and then relaxing them. The relaxation you do at the end of the yoga, some people will do this yoga nidra or guided relaxation by tensing up each part of the body and then letting it relax completely. Or some people will just actively imagine each part of the body relaxing. So guiding the full body relaxation after an intense physical workout can feel amazing. If any of you have ever experienced it, it can feel better than any sensation we have in our day-to-day life. We're just shifting into this physical and mental bliss. And I've done yoga with so many different teachers. There are beautiful contemplations and meditations that I've seen across all these different practices. Setting intentions, a new point of attention to transform ourselves, or sanskaras or past habits melting away, or I wouldn't do it justice if I tried to list them all, because there's so much beautiful history and culture across different yoga practices that are points of meditation that can be so helpful. So I guess my other tip is try many different styles, different teachers, and find so many different beautiful things that can enrich your practice or enrich you. But yeah, you've really inspired me that perhaps we should do a yoga session here as a community. Yes,
Yeah.
Messiah.
I think that'd be wonderful.
When we practice yoga, the benefits to our health is immensely, because as we grow older, we need to kind of stretch and the tendons in our muscles, they need to stretch a little bit because they retract over time, especially when it's cold and stuff. So try to incorporate yoga into your everyday movement all the time, so that you're doing it, like if you're at the computer, you do some stretching, you think about it consciously, because your muscles need to breathe, right? And carbon dioxide needs to get out. And that's what yoga can help with. And then in meditation, when you breathe at the same time, it does great wonders for the body.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. And I like that idea of bringing some yoga into points throughout your day, especially if you also included some meditation as you're stretching. So just bringing yourself back to intentionality throughout your day as a way to keep yourself feeling good and relaxed and empowered. Yeah, it's a wonderful suggestion. Thank you.
I think yoga definitely is. It's basically a form of to obviously simplify it, because it's more complex than that. Body meditation. You're meditating on your own body, the different, of course, poses, and you're tensing it up, and of course relaxing it much more. And of course it can cause release, maybe emotional or just physical releases. But yeah.
All right.
Yoga's very complex.
I'm going to put yoga aside for now, because we've decided we're going to do a team yoga session. Hello Merck said a yoga session would be amazing. And
Yay.
Trying it would be great. So we're going to dive into our next guided meditation, inspired by what you said, Cameron Buddha, about, the world, people are not so considerate of others as they, well, it's my expectation to imagine a world where everybody's kind and everybody's loving and everyone's kind to themselves and is a wonderful self-coach. So just to say the world is like cruel or violent is kind of comparing it to these expectations. I don't necessarily want to have those expectations, but I do want to be inspired by that. And I want to be working towards a world where we're kind to each other and considerate and patient of each other. So I'm going to guide us a compassion meditation. Now, when I learned about compassion meditation, I was not in a great spot. It was hard for me to say, I have love and care for a lot of people. I was a pretty angry person. And possibly with good reason. That's not the point. But the point was that getting from where I was to having love for all beings was a very, very far journey. But I did like the idea of, if people were intentionally choosing, we would choose a world where everyone was kind and thoughtful and helpful. And so that idea inspired my meditations. And when I first started, just letting the kindness grow towards my mum was a hard first step. And then letting it grow towards the other people who were closer to me. But doing it every day, a few weeks in, I was feeling love and kindness for all of them. And then another few weeks in, I was feeling love and kindness towards like friends and acquaintances. Like a real feeling of well-wishing and caring, a deep positive intention towards all of my acquaintance friends. And another week in, I was feeling that well-wishing towards everyone I'd see, people I'd pass on the street, people in the shops, just feeling this fountain of love and care. And another couple of weeks in, I was even feeling it towards the butterflies and the lambs and the fish and the birds and the people who'd been mean and rude and horrible to me. And I was just shining love out to everything. So like I said, that took me weeks and weeks of practicing every day. But we're going to do just a mini compassion meditation. I'm going to try and take us on that whole journey. So let's see how that goes. So we're going to dive back into meditation. I invite everybody to get comfortable. If you're out on the live stream, just get into your seat and get comfortable. I'm wiggling my butt, just getting into the seat. And if you're here in VR, just invite you to feel your posture, feel the headset on your face, feel the warmth as you close your eyes, feel the soothing feeling in your head. If you're watching on the video, as you close your eyes, and you feel your eyes close, and then you feel the whole of your head relaxing, and just feel that relaxation move down through your body, like a wave that's just gently trickling down through the neck, through the shoulders, across the arms and the chest, the hips and the elbows, the legs and the forearms, the hands and the knees, the calves and the feet. You just take a few deep breaths, and you just remember how nice it can be to relax and be at peace. If it's taking a little bit of time to get there, that's totally okay. You just completely accept that. All of your intention and feelings and attention is just moving into peace and calm. Just take a few deeper breaths. Maybe you can remember some of the most peaceful feelings you've ever had, or perhaps what it's like to have been in the deepest meditations or most profound meditations. As we now begin our kindness meditation, so let's start with that intention. Imagine a world where everybody spent some time thinking about kindness. Where everybody intentionally practiced the kindest version of themselves. And then imagine as you saw friends and family and colleagues, the feeling of care and kindness and warmth and ease that you would wish for them, the way you'd share that in your smile or in your voice or in your feelings. And inspired by the idea of a world where everyone is consciously cultivating compassion, let's bring it back to those closest to you. I invite you to think of your closest friends or family. Take some deep, intentional breaths. And whoever comes to mind, you're doing a dance of compassion in your own attention. Perhaps you're appreciating them. Perhaps they just make you feel good. Perhaps you have a wave of forgiveness come across you. Maybe you have feelings of patience. Maybe you look into their eyes and you laugh or you care. Just whoever's coming to mind, guide your own meditation into diving into the most beautiful, caring, love, appreciation. As an ambassador for kindness and compassion, if anything comes to mind, anything that was hard, or just drop it. You're just making the way you feel about the people around you as pure and as beautiful as you can. As a gift for them, but also as a gift for yourself. You're making your world this beautiful bubble of love. Joy. And imagine if you'd been doing that every day, and so that everyone you were close to, everyone who was in your life often, you were just filled with joy whenever you thought of them, whenever you saw them. You're just this ball of love and care, and it makes you feel so good and it makes them feel good. And imagine if you kept practicing that, and so that old colleagues, school friends, friends you haven't seen for a while, people in your life that you haven't been that close with. Just this caring just overflowed to everyone. Anyone you thought of, anyone you saw, you wish them well. Obviously you want them to be okay. If they were suffering, obviously you'd wish them to be free from suffering. Imagine if everybody could just feel your well wishes towards them. And now we're going to bring the meditation back to yourself. And I invite you to think of yourself with the most gentle and strong kindness and caring. How precious it is, each thought you give yourself, each feeling you allow your attention to be in. So as you look at yourself, just breathe into that strength that you'll carefully and gently love yourself, coach yourself, and be kind to yourself. And then as you think of those close friends and family, wish for them to also be kind to themselves, to care for themselves, to have that gentle awareness of each moment, to be mindful and aware, to treat themselves with love and encouragement. And then let's expand our minds out again to all beings. That we wish for everyone to be safe, to be at peace. To be comforted. And I'll be quiet for about 20 breaths. You can just guide this meditation for yourself in whatever way you imagine will be most helpful, most beautiful for you and for the world. And if you've had any nice feelings or nice decisions or insights, just take a moment to appreciate them, to remember them. And if you've had some nice feelings, you could imagine carrying that feeling with you always. And as we are finishing this compassion meditation, just have a moment to appreciate that you gave that to yourself. And you could keep giving yourself wonderful experiences like this. You could keep being gentle and kind and aware of how you talk to yourself and the things you practice in your mind. And then let's think of everybody else who's here. And try to imagine everything we all felt. And when we're ready, we're going to open our eyes, and I want you to just look at everybody here. If you just joined, we just did a kindness meditation. Felt caring, growing for ourselves and those around us. So just take a moment to experience that, hey, there's people here. We shared this together. Ganga, I like that you're walking around. Let's do that. Let's just walk around and have an actual moment with each other.
Yeah, I have a hard time
Hello.
sitting still.
We did it, everybody. We meditated. Clap, clap, clap. Mr. Popped, our friend.
I hope you had a good meditation.
Hello, friend.
Yeah.
Welcome. I hope this is right to have just walked in on. It was a pretty sweet moment we all just
That's
had.
It's a great username too.
And I gotta join that YouTube group. That's great.
Oh no.
All
Yeah.
right. So, would anyone like to comment on the kindness meditation or share a nice something or ask a question?
I may have started.
One thing,
I'm
Zarin
sorry.
on the streams just said thank you for the meditation. Have a good week. Well, if you're heading out, thanks so
Hi,
much for
Zarin.
joining in, and I hope you'll be staying longer. And Hello Merc has also just said, hey, environment can also affect us, but we can infect our environment. They just recently got an air filter, and that's made them happy. Simple things can make a big difference. And just like an air filter can change your room and how you breathe and how you feel, simple changes we make in our mind can wildly change our inner environment. So yeah, being creative with our inner world as well as our outer world. It's a wonderful thing. So would anyone like to share something from the kindness meditation? How it felt, what you imagined, nice moment that you had? Comrade?
Well, it was very nice. I said imagine a world where everybody's kind and spreading kindness, and kind of had this image of like a tree branch Are you the tip of a tree branch? It's just one stem and then or branch end. And then you have it connect to others, and that branches out and keeps going. And so I kind of imagined how kindness spreads. And
Beautiful.
if everybody was intentional of their thoughts with kindness or being kind, they woke up in the morning and they're like, okay, how can I kind to others? What can I say? And how that spreads. And then after the meditation, when you're like, let's look around, I was like, I'm grateful for these people here. Feeling kindness and grateful. So, thanks everybody.
Wonderful. So I think that kindness meditation, I didn't check the time, but somewhere between 5 or 10 minutes. And if you liked it, I'd thoroughly encourage you guys to do it again tomorrow. And try doing it every day and just see how wonderfully it gets stronger and stronger, and how epically it can transform you, how you feel and your attitudes, and how much easier it is to deal with people and situations, and how much more joy and kindness just grows and flows through you.
I just wanted to thank Comrade Buddha for those comments, because that helped bring a lot for me into perspective. In my case, I was mindful about how I speak to others, and sometimes I say things that hurt people, and I feel terrible about it. And focusing my mind.
Unironically enough, I was reminded about the balance of the kindness that I've experienced in my life, where there is a tug of war, like a rope being tugged, and it's either give or take. But if everyone just understood this principle so easily, it wouldn't be a tug of war, it would just be give and receive. And that's like what we're trying to achieve on a global level as well. Like, kindness just becomes the norm, and those who don't can just help them with kindness.
Beautiful. Thanks, Messiah. Hey Ed, let's go back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so I like to focus. So a lot of what I do and what I like to do is helping people. And I've always wondered if it comes more from a place of conscious
There's this old
wanting
saying, you cannot eat the cake and have the cake at the same time. But in terms of kindness, I think you really can. You can have it and you can.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in
Ed,
religious
let's try and
backgrounds,
hear everything you were saying. Yeah.
yeah, sure. Second, sorry.
So I think you were saying you weren't sure where it comes from?
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of what I
Oh, sorry.
wonder is that when I was younger, if it's more of a state of repentance that I feel the desire to do good in the world because I feel like I have a lot to contribute to it. But at the same time, I feel guilty for those misspoken actions in my life where I've said things that hurt people. And so I feel obligated that for the ill that happened, I need to put out more good to offset that.
Um, with the specific people where that's happened, I hope you've found ways to talk to them or try to make those specific things better.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great. And I'm quite a pragmatist when it comes to different attitudes and beliefs. So I'm not going to say like trying to make up for the harms we've done is correct or incorrect, but I do like to evaluate the nuance of it. Like, does doing that inspire you and make you feel good, or does it carry guilt and does it feel bad? And being mindful of what we're doing in the moment is great, but also being mindful of, like, what are our overarching motives, what are the beliefs we have, is also great. And if you notice that you have this belief or this way of being, I hope you can craft that it feels good and it supports you in the best way possible. Or maybe even you might put that one aside for a while and say, hey, what about if I'm just driven by love and kindness in a way that feels pure good, and I, just like I want to accept and try to understand others, I'll also just try to accept and understand myself, and just moving forward is all we can do. Or, yeah, I'm wondering, you shared that obligation thing because it sounded to me like you were grappling with it carries some baggage, or did I understand that right?
Yeah, I'll communicate it a little bit better so it's a little more understandable. So I have lived a very digital life, and on the internet, I ascribe to be better, and I ascribe others to be better as well. And sometimes that can be very forceful. And in the way that I communicate it, I can't do that. And it's not healthy at all. I have to focus on what I can take care of and help the people that I can help in those mediums.
Mm.
And it's very challenging when you've offended a person, and that I feel contrition. I feel the need to reevaluate the relationship and show regret for those actions. And
Mm.
it definitely lingers on me very long. And but yeah, it's very important to understand that. And I have gotten better at it, but it still is always something that comes to my mind when it comes to thinking about what I say and how I say it and how I communicate.
Well, I deeply believe that we can be the complete architect of our consciousness and our experience. So I love that you're thoughtful, and I love that you try to make each interaction beneficial and as close to zero pain or suffering as possible. Um, we're sitting here in a Buddhist temple, and one of the tenets of most forms of Buddhism is right speech. And to translate that more fully is like to make that each thing we say has, well, in some of the translations they say again and right, again right, again right, so that the way we speak will be good and kind and beneficial in as many situations as possible. So it's wonderful that you have that intention. I just, when I hear you say it weighs on you for a long time, I hope that you can craft the way you relate to those moments so that you can learn from them awesomely, which it seems like you're already trying to do. And then when you've done that, you then celebrate or give yourself love and kindness. Or, if someone said something that had offended you, but then you saw they had really tried to make amends, would you hope that that weighs on them? Perhaps you could ask yourself what you'd wish for them to feel, and then you could give yourself some of that feeling.
That's nice. But no, I would never want anyone to be upset or feel bad about what they said to me. I I'm a very person that likes to do for others. I know people call it people pleasers, but for me, it feels wonderful to be there for a person, help them in whatever way they need.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. Hey, on the live stream, we've got growth. If it's good to feel good about things where we've grown. And feeling care. Actually, I'm going to just read the whole thing. So Helen Merker said, guilt shows growth and sorrow. It isn't bad to grow or feel sorry for something that's done. To feel guilt or sorrow is to feel care and love for others. I'm going to half agree that yes, feeling guilt or sorrow can be a sign of care and love for others. But care and love doesn't have to include guilt or sorrow. If we're fully mindful of the way that we relate and the way that we approach things, there are other ways to respond when we've done something that's upset somebody. So while I definitely want everyone to care if they've done that and try to learn and make amends, I don't want to prescribe guilt or sorrow onto people when they've had that experience. And maybe, I hope what I'm saying right now can actually be very enlightening for everybody. So often in life we have these paradigms that we believe caring, we'd have to feel guilty if we hurt somebody. But, Hello Merck just said, see how they worded it. So yeah, perhaps you could define feeling guilty as like, oh, I'm going to find how to make that better. But for me, the word guilt is quite laden with, like, it hurts and it's self-judging. So yes, we can watch how we relate to ourselves and try to relate to ourselves in a way that's most helpful and most kind. And as I asked Ed, like, what would you wish for someone else if they had hurt you? The kind part of you would wish for them to, or whatever the kind part of you would wish. I can see what the kind part of me would wish. And growth is great. We're all learning and growing all the time. And as we are moving through life intentionally, growing through moments that give us the opportunity to grow, we can treat them as really special moments. And Ed, the fact that you just so explicitly try to have that positive intention, try and learn, many people might do that, but you've thought about that. I can hear that you've thought about that and you've set that intention. And I think that's really special and really beautiful. And I just want to acknowledge that and appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Other people's lack of kindness is not my problem. Can't take responsibility for them. Just hope for them to be inspired. Yeah, right on. If we are fountains of kindness and care, then we are making the world better. I like to think about, like Comrade had that metaphor of the branch and the branches going out. I like to think of different metaphors at different times. So maybe it's like our minds are just all like a computer network and there's just computer viruses spreading from mind to mind. And some people have caught some non-kindness viruses and some people have caught some kindness ones. And judging someone for what software is running on them, I don't find that to be as helpful as just trying to be spreading the helpful programs as much as possible. So if you're creating new levels of kindness by meditating and then spreading out the kindness programs as much as we can, it will inspire some or many of the people around, and that will then spread to others and spread to others. So welcome. We're just talking about how intentional kindness can spread, and practicing kindness, feeling care, feeling patience, it makes our life richer and more beautiful, and it rubs off on the people around us. So all use, you've just joined us, and here in this place we often start with a meditation, and then we have a discussion, and we finish with a meditation. But today I decided to just do a smorgasbord of different meditations and mental exercises, ways we can make ourselves feel better and we can make our minds be more awesome. So we did a shifting gear meditation, showing how to relax and just change how we feel. And then we had a bit of a discussion, and then we've had a kindness meditation where we just practiced feeling good and imagined a world. What if everybody spent a bit of time, just a few minutes each day, practicing feeling good and kind and positive? The kind of world we'd have if everyone intentionally felt more kindness, practiced that kindness, decided with more kindness. And then after that meditation, we had a little discussion, shared some beautiful things people had and some things people were going through. And now we're here. So welcome. Comrade Buddha mentioned before that, it was Hello Merc mentioned that by putting an air filter in their room, it's made their room feel better. It's made them happier. And little changes can make a big difference. I was speaking with a meditation teacher at a conference I was at last week, and they love the idea of fractals. So a tree can be considered a fractal. There's a branch or a trunk that breaks into some branches. They break into some branches, they break into some branches, and they have leaves. And just by changing how many branches will come off, you'll get a completely different tree. Or changing the angles that the branches come out, the tree will look totally different. Or changing how much randomness there is will change all the trees. And Sundi, the meditation teacher I was speaking to, he described a really simple fractal. If you have a triangle, any triangle, and then you have some triangles coming off of that, and some triangles coming off of that. So just this simple thing. And if you just change the angle of one of the corners, the entire thing would change. And he described that meditation can be like that. You just change a tiny little bit of one of your triangles. But then the impact that has on the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and on this conversation with this person, and this conversation with this person, and then on the thought pattern here, and then on the decision there. These tiny little changes we have in how we use our mind or in how our feelings are going, they ripple through our life. They ripple through the lives of others. They ripple through reality. And as we learn to cherish every moment of intention, every moment of positivity that we practice, little changes they make change the world. And yes, I want to empower us that we can make epic changes and drastically letting go of things that don't serve us and creating awesome new ways of being. Definitely that's the intention of this place. But along with that are all the little steps, and that those little steps add up and ripple through our lives. So I hope that some of you could see that fractal metaphor and see how little changes in the triangle would ripple through the tapestry of your life. So I want to share with you one brain skill that I've found awesome. It's a memory skill. And when I first learned about memory hacks, I was amazed to see that if you practice remembering in a certain way, you can actually go and memorize thousands of things. Whereas most people's short-term memory is about 7 things. Just rewiring how you approach things you're going to remember can massively change how your brain works. And I find that really exciting, because when you see that works with memory, you can also think about how engineering your moods and engineering your thought patterns could massively change you. So we're going to do a little exercise. There'll be a little test at the end, so I want everyone to be engaged. You won't have to say the test out loud if you don't want, but you're going to test yourself at least. So I want to show you how a different approach in memory can really change how we remember. I'm going to use a technique called a chaining technique or a linking technique. So I'm going to give you 10 things, which is bigger than how most of our short-term memory works, but we're going to link each one. And so your short-term memory, if you just throw the things in the hat of your short-term memory, about 7 things fit in that hat before they start falling out. But if you can link memories together, you can actually lock them into your mind so they'll last a lot longer. So we're just going to use things that are easy to visualize, because visualizing, being able to see things, is a lot easier for our minds to engage with. And we're going to link one to the other. I haven't pre-decided the 10 things. I'll try and do some enlightening things, but if I just pick random funny stuff, that's okay too. So I want everyone to just try to imagine a monkey. You see its tail, maybe it's laughing, you see the color of its fur. Can I see a nod when you're imagining a monkey? You can see how big is the monkey. Some of you might have really visual imaginations, and that's great. You can just see the monkey like it's right there in front of you. Some of us haven't really practiced having a visual imagination. And if that's the case, you could try drawing the monkey in your mind. Okay, I draw the circle of the head and the circle of the ears, and draw the shoulders, and draw the arms, and draw the body, and draw the legs. And then you could try coloring it in. What color would it be? And I didn't have a visual mind when I first learned these skills, but by practicing drawing them in my imagination, I found that I trained my brain to be able to then see the images. And then I turn the color up brighter, and then I add in the texture of the fur. I just trained my brain to be able to see things. So I invite you to just imagine this monkey as vividly as you can right now. Another part of our brain is movement, so you could see how the monkey moves and maybe how he walks. All right, so there's our first thing, is the monkey. And next, I want you to imagine a lotus flower. So a lotus flower is a flower with a pretty thick stem and really rich petals, and then inside is like an upside down pyramid with all these little balls on it. And the lotus flower is often used as a metaphor for enlightenment. They grow out of the mud and then somehow just come out just so beautiful and clear. And try to make that as vivid as you can, like you're holding the lotus flower, you're drawing the shapes, you're seeing the colors. But then we have to connect it to the monkey. And I'm going to start going faster. Hopefully I've primed your mind to be visual and to be experiencing it. And with each thing I say, I want you to do that. But to connect the monkey and the lotus, you've got to get them to engage together. So imagine the monkey grabs the lotus flower, and you see the lotus flower in the monkey's hands. But just holding on to something isn't that much of a connection. So you could see the monkey's patting the flower on its head. It's a pretty weird thing to do. So as you see this monkey just patting the flower on its head, it looks weird. So Norman, we're just doing a little memory exercise to see how our brain is good at connecting things. So everybody imagining this monkey holding a lotus flower, and maybe while the monkey's patting it, it might do something funny, like it holds the lotus center in its eyes or sticks it up its nose and gets stuck in its nose. All right, so now we've all got this lotus flower. And next I want you to imagine a rocket ship. So Norman, I'm just picking random stuff for us to see how we can make our minds more vivid. And by changing how we use our minds, we get different results. So everyone can visualize a rocket ship. And like it's solid metal. You knock on it, ding, 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 and it's full of fuel. It's going to burn wildly hot. It's going to go faster than anything you've ever experienced in your life. And so then use your imagination. How could you connect a lotus flower to a rocket ship? And sure, there's the concept of enlightenment, like you are taking off, escaping all worldly desires and just becoming completely free. But I don't want you to connect it conceptually. Imagine actual lotus flower and a rocket ship. Maybe the rocket ship is just like smashing through the lotus. Maybe there's little rocket ships launching out of the seed pods of the lotus. Maybe the rocket ship is powered by lotuses and just shooting them out the back. And can I see a nod when you visualize something that is funny or weird, it's like vivid for you? Excellent. All right, so next we're going to go from the rocket ship, and I invite you to imagine a diamond, a gem. It's really solid. It's unscratchable. It'll scratch anything else. It's more powerful than anything. And now I'm going to leave it for you. Try to imagine the rocket ship and a diamond and make them interact somehow. Use your creativity, use your quirkiness, use your visual, moving, feeling imagination. Now, my plan was to go through 10 of these things, but I want to make sure this is engaging and interesting for everybody. And I wanted to do more than 7, so you could see that it's just like so much more vivid than like the 7 normal things we'd remember. Are people interested? Should we keep going and try and do the 10? I'll give you a quick test for yourself. Imagine the monkey and then go through the things that are connected to the monkey and see how vividly and easily you can remember those 4 things. Cool. And I want to point out that if you train your mind, you can easily make chains of 20 things. And then there are other memory systems where you can lock in hundreds of chains. So with about a day's training, I could have you could remember thousands of things on the spot. To me, that is amazing, how wildly different our mind can be by just learning different approaches. So should we do a few more things? Or can I see with a wave? Was everyone able to see the monkey, the lotus, the rocket, and the diamond? To me, that's wild. Just learning to chain things, visualize and connect things is a superpower. And I hope that you will try playing with that each day. Just when you've got your shopping list, try training it together. Boom, you've memorized it. Or when there's some song lyrics or a poem or something you're studying for, try visualizing the parts and connecting them. And the more you practice, the faster you get at it and the more automatic it becomes. And if people are interested, we could do some longer, more in-depth mental memory training. So I want to hear from everybody else for a little bit. And if people are all keen to do the 10, we'll do the 10. But yeah, let's hear your thoughts. How was that exercise for you? The idea of training yourself that you can remember hundreds or thousands of things. How does that sound to you? I'd love to hear people's thoughts, experiences. Genga?
It's very cool.
Hey, comrade.
Go ahead. Whoever was first. But, yeah, it's very cool. It makes you, have a much more, capabilities in what you do, and maybe get the hang of things faster. Being able to uh, keep a bunch of notes in mind, sort of thing. I've definitely heard of mental memory techniques before. What do you call it? I know that the Romans and the Greeks, or just people in ancient world, had many memory techniques. I mean, this is probably what they practiced.
Memory palace.
Absolutely.
Yes. Memory palace.
I
Memory
mentioned
house.
there's a way to put like 20 or 100 of these lists. The memory palace is one of the ways where you can put all the lists in the places. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think the name that most people use for these memory tricks is mnemonics, which I think is a Greek name. So yeah, this stuff's been around for a long time, but learning to be really good at it and master the systems is wild.
It is. Yeah, I should practice with these more. I felt like it was difficult first time I tried, but I don't know. I feel like you explained it very simplistically, so it felt easier.
Wonderful. Yeah, as I hope that you guys notice, I always try to take things and make them as easy to see as possible, as easy to engage with and do them as possible. Genga, you're gonna share something with us?
Oh no, I was just moving so I could see. I mean, I've heard of similar memory techniques, and I don't know if it's memory palace, but I remember reading about something a long time ago about how you can remember lists of like you said, hundreds of things or even thousands of things. But the technique I read about, there was like a lot of work up front. Like you have to memorize some list of words or something. I don't remember. Some really long list, and then you can connect these items to that list. I don't know if that rings a bell with anybody, but that's what I've heard about.
That's actually my favorite one of these memory techniques. So the memory palace is something like what you said, but instead of just being a list of stuff, you'll either go around your house and do 5 things in this room, 5 things in that room, 5 things in that room, and 5 things in that room. Bang, you've got 20 spots to put memories. Or some of the famous speech givers, I think maybe it was Socrates, he'd write his speeches as he'd walk through the city and then put each topic in a place through the city. And he knew the city like the back of his hand. So when he got up on stage, he'd just go for that walk again and boom, he just knew everything he was going to say because he had each thing in this palace of the city. So yeah, the memory palace is when it's like physically placed, and then the list, there are systems to these lists. I don't think anyone memorizes just a random list of 1,000 things. They're a way to systematize the list so that if I say what's number 57, you can straight away say it's a padlock. You can look up that list instantly, and then when you know that list instantly, whatever you connect to those positions, boom, you can memorize 100 or 1,000 things, or 100 or 1,000 of the Monkey Lotus Rocket Diamond lists. So yeah, I'm definitely excited by how engineering our mind, training our mind can make these massive changes. And I'm glad you've heard about it, and I hope that we're excited as a group to try it. Being interested in something makes it easier for me to remember things. Excellent. So, all things enlightenment and wisdom. So, one thing that I've been really amazed by is that when I practice training myself to remember shopping lists or stuff I'm studying at, I'm actually training my brain to be a better learner. And so then when I'm doing kindness meditation and I'm struck with, whoa, that whole category of people, I had this attitude, I'm going to let that go and just have this beautiful new attitude. It's like I remember that more powerfully because my brain is trained to lock things in. So just like weightlifting, no one really cares about picking up chunks of metal and putting them down. But if you do that a lot, you're stronger at everything in life. Memorizing random monkey rockets, also then just makes your mind stronger. So any piece of philosophy that you're reading, you will internalize it more powerfully. Any meditation epiphanies you have, you'll remember them more completely. And you may have noticed that the things that I got us to remember, the lotus, and how the lotus is a metaphor for enlightenment, coming out of the mud into pristine beauty, and the idea of a rocket ship, you being able to just fly above all the day-to-day concerns and having a massive perspective, and the diamond. Many people talk of the triple gem, enlightenment, wisdom, and community, and that by staying focused on that triple gem, we free and enlighten our life. So memorizing things that have beautiful meaning can enrich your mind in playful, fun ways. There's also the idea that enlightenment is like a lotus in each moment. It's beautiful and precious, but it's also like a diamond in that it's unscratchable, it's perfection, and that if you carry that lotus of careful attention each moment, you have that enlightenment of unshakable, infinite equanimity. Messiah Aisho, I hope that was a nice way to bring the memory stuff back to your passion for enlightenment and joy. You also mentioned you learn things more when you're interested. These techniques are a great way to train your subconscious to lock things in and hold things better. There's another set of learning, which is when we are interested and we're engaging with the concepts and we're looking at how does this meditation practice fit in with other things, or how does this equation actually work, how am I going to graph it, or how does it remind me of other equations, or this bit of history, where does it fit in the context of the cultures that are involved. As we're interested and engaged and we lock ideas into the other relevant ideas is also a very important part of learning. These systems are just a way to expand our working memory to be massively bigger and stronger. Scientists estimate the brain can hold up to 2.5 petabytes of information. It sure is a powerful computer. If anyone doesn't know what a petabyte is, like 1,000 gigabytes.
After giga, and then after tera.
Oh yeah, giga, tera, peta. Yeah, so 2.5 of biggest computers that we would buy. I think our brain probably holds more than that because it's really good at compressing things and making connections. But yeah, our brains are epic, that's for sure. And learning how to make the most of them, I think, is the most precious and important thing that any consciousness can do.
There was this documentary about a Rain Man character who had autism, and he was living in New York, and he was on a helicopter ride for the first time in his life going through Manhattan. And after the helicopter ride, he drew a picture of a skyline, like a panorama picture, by hand with a pen, just from memory.
Yeah, I know when I was doing this memory training technique that we just did, I was so excited when I first learned it. I was giving people demos of like 100 things each day, trying to do it as fast as I could. And doing that every day for a few months, I also had freaky things happen. I remember one time I was walking with my friends and we just walked past the store and they're like, oh yeah, let's see it. Tell us everything that was in that store. And it was like a toy store or an arts or crafts store. So it just had loads of freaky things on the street. And yeah, I just closed my eyes. I hadn't paid attention to the store, but then I just described so many things that were in the store that my subconscious had just caught as we walked past. And I don't think I could do that now because I don't practice as much as I used to, but I want to get back into being that kind of super mind, and I hope we as a community can be these super minds with each other. And I think practice is a big part of it. Becoming compassion for all beings. It took me kindness meditation every day for about 6 weeks. Having that memory, I had to show it off and be excited about it and practice it for a couple of months. And I'm guessing even these people with natural super abilities, I'm guessing they also practice it a lot. They just love remembering things, or they obsess over stuff and they get really good at doing it. So I like to think that whatever you get excited or obsessed about, you'll be able to be amazing at.
You'll also notice that it is easier to remember from a peaceful state of mind rather than an aggravated peace of mind. Like if you're relaxed and if you're calm and you're happy, it's easier. But if you're focusing on anger, you can't remember and you get distracted by the anger in the moment. So you have to let go and just let it happen.
Was it you that mentioned we could do some yoga throughout the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if we are taking moments to be peace throughout our day, and we just keep coming back to that, peace and calm and positive feelings will permeate our day. They'll permeate how we think. They'll permeate how we relate to things. And as your mind becomes more at peace, you'll remember stuff more easily. You'll make the decisions more easily. Yeah, the benefits of meditating regularly just ripple through everything. So everyone, I've noticed the time. It's getting close to our closing meditation time. So we've done a shifting gear, relaxation, positive intention meditation. We've done a compassion memory meditation. We've done some memory chaining. And we've talked about how the way we talk to ourselves and the way that we engineer our own mind can change everything. So for this closing meditation, things that I feel I can share best, I'll give you a bunch of options and we can see what people want. Just after I read, Hello Merck said, you guys' minds are remembering stuff you didn't even pay attention to. Mine's playing cat pictures on repeat all day long. Well, I hope that those cats make you laugh and feel good. But yeah, absolutely true. Our minds are picking up stuff all the time, and I hope that we try to put our attention on the kinds of things we do want or we do value. So speaking of that, one kind of really helpful meditation is mindfulness meditation. Learning to direct your attention and to, if you choose to stop the cat videos or the recurring thoughts, learning to let go of stuff that doesn't serve us, learning to create a more intentional presence. So we could do a single-pointed concentration meditation. We could do a laughter meditation. We could do a guided imagery meditation. We could go to a lake of peace or a mountain of strength. We could do a guided contemplation about your enlightened best self and the things you'd like to practice. So I mentioned concentrated meditation, laughter, imagery for peace, imagery for strength, contemplating what you're going to practice to be your best self. Does anyone feel really drawn to any of those?
I mean, being our best selves.
All right, let's do
Being
it.
the most tranquil.
Oh, being the most tranquil and being our best self. So there was the guided inner peace meditation, the imagery one, and then there was the contemplation of our best self. You can choose. You know what? I'm going to try and ad-lib a guided imagery to take us into the best self one. You guys are getting a brand new meditation inspired by what Comrade Buddha said. All right. Everybody,
Ooh, my honor.
close your eyes. And remember the best meditations you've ever had. How it felt. How relaxed or at peace your mind was. As you close your eyes and settle into the seat, and you make your breathing shift gear. You make your body shift gear. If you've never meditated before, you could just imagine what it would be like for your body to become perfect relaxation. Like more relaxed than you've ever been. Like your body just floated away. You became perfect stillness and peace. So I want you to see yourself sitting here meditating right now. And you can imagine if we meditated on happiness and you made yourself feel better and better, you can see that future like a branch. There you go. After the session you go out happier, and tomorrow you make some happier decisions and you laugh more. And then as you look at that branch off into the future, you could see them stop and sit and do another happiness meditation, and then there's more laughter and more joy off into that person's future. Or maybe they chose to sit and do a kindness meditation, so then they're going out and spreading caring smiles everywhere. And on each one of those two branches, they could sit and they could do even more happiness meditation and they're laughing like wild, or they sit and do more caring meditation and they're caring even deeper. Or maybe they do a confidence meditation and they're just epically spreading caring joy to everybody. As you just see these branches of possibilities out into the future. But then you come back into now, you see yourself sitting there. And what about if right now you meditated on being really aware of your consciousness each moment? Just really seeing everything you think, everywhere your attention goes. And then you see that branch, that person moves through life, and each day they spend time to practice this more expansive mind, to notice everything you think, everything you say to yourself. And so you make it that any thoughts or habits that you had that don't feel good or that aren't confident, you just drop them, and that's just gone. And then you putting your attention onto being confident, onto being clear, onto being present. The things you learn them more excitedly and more focusedly. Or you could see that version of you practicing memory palaces and being able to have this party trick of memorizing 100 things in a way that's fun and engaging, and then your mind becoming amazing. You can see all the different paths of that future. You can step back into the now and see yourself meditating here. Maybe you could imagine if you meditated on confidence and expressiveness, more than we can do in VR right now. Being able to just really use body language and your eyes and your smile to make people feel good, to be able to tell a story in a way that draws people in or makes people excited, that you get yourself feeling great and you express it with your whole voice and your whole body. And you practice that in your imagination. You're free right now. You can imagine anything, you feel anything. You're meditating on your most expressive, joyful self. You're an ambassador for love and light, so you shine it with all the fun and joy and love that you can imagine. And then you see that branch going into the future and that version of you moving through, spreading joy, spreading love, meditating excitedly and joyfully. Their kindness meditation is more expressive and more beautiful. Their memory meditation is more vivid and exciting. The way they tell those stories makes everyone's minds more awesome. And then as you imagine all the different branches of your possible future, not only the things you could meditate, not only things you could practice, but different choices you make, who you choose to reach out to, the kind of friendships you make. As well as different meditations, you could also see all the different thoughts you could have. The ways that you imagine being good at art, or good at math, or good at 3D manipulation in your mind, or good at caring, or good at laughing. The ways that you practice your sports, the ways you practice your yoga, the ways you practice your exercise, the ways you think about yourself as a meditator. The ways you're kind to yourself and encouraging to yourself. The ways you communicate love and kindness to others. Just see all the possible branches of every future you could create. As you take some strong breaths and feel the beauty of those infinite possibilities in front of you. Feel that beauty and power with excitement. What kind of meditations will be most helpful? What kind of thoughts and practices will be most awesome? As you see of all those infinite possibilities in front of you, notice the sets of futures that are most exciting or compelling or good or purposeful for you. And feel the strength it would take to steer in that direction. What things would you like to practice about your mind? What things would you like to practice about your health and fitness? What things would you like to practice about how you socialize? What kind of life would you like to carve out and create? What would be the most helpful attitudes and things to learn about your finances? What would you like to practice about creativity? What would you like to learn and practice about playfulness? As you keep seeing all of those future branches in front of you, take powerful breaths and make your cherishing of what you practice each day, how careful you are with yourself. Make it feel strong and purposeful and beautiful. You know, these branches aren't just for you, they're for everyone in your life. The things you do that will ripple into other people's lives. Every choice you make changes the universe. So I encourage you to choose specific things and to practice them each day, to visualize them and feel them and transform yourself. Completely switch the path in those paths in front of you. And then the next month, pick a few more things and powerfully switch all those paths. Be the master of yourself, the creator of your destiny. The playful monkey that makes you feel great, that fills you with enlightenment and helps you to fly. And as you come out of the meditation, remember it. Whatever goodness you cultivated in the meditation, breathe into it, feel it again more powerfully. Dedicate that you'll revisit it and practice it and meditate on it regularly. Maybe you'd like to see how you'll carry this forward into your actual life. Make it real. And then as you come out of the meditation, keep it real. How you continue to carry whatever goodness you cultivated. how you revisit that in your exercise each day, in your yoga each day, in how you create feelings each day, in how you talk to others, in how you talk to yourself. So it's time for me to go. Everyone who's here, after our closing dedication, I invite you to stay and share with each other. Practice right speech and right intention. Share what you loved. Explore the ideas. Help lift each other up. We're just going to finish with our dedication. So I dedicate this session to your awareness, that you can see those future branches. I dedicate this session to the amazingness in you, the compassion for all beings, the excitement, the kindness, the drive, the beautiful meditations that you will experience, the wonderful ways that you've already crafted yourself, the beautiful experiences you'll create for yourself in the future, and the amazing impacts you'll have on you and on others. I dedicate this session to all of us as a community, helping each other be more wonderful. I dedicate this session to an enlightened world where everybody takes time each day to cultivate compassion, a caring, beautiful world. A world where people practice happiness, positivity, not just kindness to themselves, but awesomeness to themselves. Let's see that enlightened world and be driven by that world, ambassadors for an enlightened world. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for everyone who was here on the live stream. And thanks for all of you throughout eternity who will see this. Please share it with people. Please make your practice beautiful. Thank you, Messiah Osho, for being here. And I hope to see you all soon.